Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear and see me. There was a little bit of a stutter at the beginning of the live stream, so I'll wait for a comment here confirming that you can see me. And while you're doing that, Apollo is resting in the background there, so I'm just going to let him be. He's still in meditation. So hopefully you guys are doing great. Give me a quick confirmation. Okay, good. You can see me. All right, everyone, welcome. It's so nice to see you today. And as I was saying in chat, first of all, welcome to everybody, whether you're brand new or you're a returning member. I'm so happy that you're here today. A lot of information is coming through for your sign, and I can't wait to share it with you. Let me just begin by saying who I am in case you just happen to click on the live button and you've never been here before. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Every month I like to show up and try to give you a roadmap for what's going on. But the readings lately have been a lot different. There's a lot of information coming through on how to cope with all the changes and the ambiguity. And I'm definitely going to be peppering in some things for both the current month and the month ahead. So the forecast is for May 2020, but they're really starting to apply to about a 6-week period, depending on when you tune in. So don't be alarmed if what you hear also applies to what you're going through now, especially as we look at the deep past and the past when we're looking at the Celtic cross. The way that this is structured is that you can use it, FYI, for your sun, rising, moon. You can even use it for Venus or other parts of your chart if you're really an astrology buff. Otherwise, just stick with your birth sign. You'll get all the guidance that you need. You can also watch on behalf of someone that you care about. The way that I organize it is in about 4 major parts. I'll begin with channeled information. That comes to me when I select the deck of cards, I meditate, I go into some automatic writing, and honestly, the way that it's been working for me in 2020 is I will be waking up, dreaming, and getting all kinds of information about 4 or 5 hours before I get started, and that's what happened today. After we go through the psychic information, we'll use a Celtic cross to tap into what the cards have to say, again, highlighting any of the challenges and opportunities. And then I look at health, wealth, love, and destiny in the expanded forecast. The latter portion of the reading is really exciting, and it's something I've enjoyed in 2020. And that's what I call soul path work, where we go a little bit deeper and we'll be digging into stuff that's going to help you through now and the rest of this year. This month, a lot of it's in how to kind of perceive what's going on in a positive light, or try to find some of the silver lining in what's going on. So keeping us in the higher energy, working with ambiguity, and really trying to look at things from a different angle. Then we meditate. We pull all of the energy and information that has come through the entire reading and integrate. And that's a really important part. So please stick around for that if you can. So one thing that I love about going live, first of all, is I can see that you're all here. It's much more fun for me to be talking to a group of people than to myself. If you want to show some love and support, there's a great way you can do it. There's this little super chat icon. This is only available if you're watching it live. But if you are watching it live and you want to send like a sticker, a rainbow, unicorn, whatever, and just say hello, I would love for you to do that. I have a couple of new decks today that are specifically from the contributions you guys have given me. So thank you. And I'll keep upgrading my decks as I get some additional support from you guys. So I don't do Q&A and I don't do pick a card, but you're going to get a lot of very specific information. So I hope you enjoy this. Thanks to my moderators, Ryan and Maria, for keeping everything organized today. You'll see them popping up periodically if there's a question or if things need to be brought into order. They're very good at doing all of the above. And please stick around until the end. I'll also give you some information on how you can join me across the different social media platforms or book an appointment or anything like that. But there's so much to talk about today. I really want to get into the messages, so let's go. All right. I was up a lot last night. I kept waking up with all of these messages coming through, dreams, visions, insights. And one that was really the most poignant one, or the one that stood out the most, was I felt like I was lost and I couldn't find an identification card. I used to have a corporate job, as you've known, if you've listened to me for a while. I actually had a bunch. And one of the things that it's impersonal, but it's like this essential piece, was this identification card with your picture, your title, your name, or maybe just like a scan code. And you needed that to be able to get everywhere. It was your access code, but it also symbolically was who you were, what you did. Like, it was your sense of identity. And I feel like there's no reason that I would be looking at that. I don't think of my old job. I don't feel an attachment to it. But the guides were showing me the ID card, just like I would see a card here, to help relay that I feel like some of you might be feeling this sense of being lost. Who am I? I can't find myself because I'm not around my friends. I'm not working in this normal company that I'd be working for, Or maybe I've lost my job, I've been furloughed, I've been laid off, and now I have to find a new identity. And even for those of you that are first responders or in a store that's open during some of these challenging periods, your job isn't what it used to be. You're not the same person that you were. And I think what we're starting to realize is that we have to change with the times. We're living through a moment in history, more so now than maybe at any point in the past, because short of World War II, maybe World War I or II, where there's been a planet-wide event, this is basically touching every single country and every single city and every person on the planet. I get goosebumps when I hear that or when I say that, because it can also be a beautiful thing. During times of challenge, of despair, of uncertainty, we can find that the goodness within comes out. I've mentioned in various videos this month, this is, to me, is kind of, I can draw an analogy to 9/11 because it was a time of great sorrow, but also great joy in America, because we saw people coming through and helping and trying to find the best in a bad situation. And I think it's important to do that, and important to remember that we can get through this. We don't know yet kind of like how long it will stretch in different aspects in respect to health, finances, social impacts, technological changes. We're just at the beginning of that. But the cool thing is you get to now sort of look at yourself through a different lens, put on a different pair of glasses and think, what might I be now? What's going on? You get a little mini life review packaged in this event. We don't have to pass away and go into a new, life to get new chances. You can reincarnate in this life, like reinvent yourself in this life. You can do a life review while you're alive and change for the better. When I was a kid, I had an amazing teacher. I don't know if he's still alive, but Mr. Thompson, he was awesome. And he made us read A Christmas Carol and watch every single version of it. So I know the story kind of inside out. But one of the great things that I loved about the story is it was about redemption while you were alive. So, the main character of that novel saw an old friend and business partner who didn't live a good life, made mistakes, and was suffering as a consequence. He had a choice, Ebenezer Scrooge, to change his life and made, a 180-degree change. You don't have the sort of same situation, but, we are being faced with ghosts of our past, of people that might be passing. We are at a point where we're looking at mortality. And one of the cool things that can come through that, just as it did in that novel by Charles Dickens, was that we can now decide to make a difference, make a change, do something better. So forget the old card, cut it up. It's not you. We are not that stupid card that we wear in corporate identities. We're not our license. We're not the date of birth. We're not whatever gender, race, or whatever, that we, look like we are to the rest of the world. We are deep souls with rich knowledge and a beautiful ability to change and shift. We have to get back to that. We have lost sight of that in the past couple of decades, and there's a lot of divisiveness that needs to fade away. And the great teaching and the great sort of silver lining of this global event is that humanity can shine through. So rip up that identification card, make something that matters, call yourself whatever you want. When you leave this planet, all that stuff doesn't matter anyway. It's what you did, it's the love that you shared, it's the impact that you made on the planet. One of the other visions that I had was of two different people. Maybe they're in the chat room today, maybe they're symbolic, but I saw two different people and I was seeing snapshots of their life. One was in this gigantic sort of like, it almost looked like a hangar or a warehouse, and the business was fading. And I saw them eventually at a table, and then I saw everything kind of empty and people kind of packing it all up or taking it all away. And then I saw another person that was reinventing themselves, doing something different and trying to evolve. And I think there's a choice right now. The main thing that I got was to act quickly and act now to try to change, to shift. Don't wait for things to be over. Don't wait for things to go back, because in a sort of science fiction kind of way of looking at it, the timeline is shifted. So we're now in an alternate reality, but we're still attached to the old reality. So there's this sense of, where am I? That's why the identification card thing came to me. Your old you It's in some other dimension and the wormhole has closed. So you're now feeling like that old person, but now on this planet with everything around you changing. So that means, okay, I'm going to go with it. I now have to make it in this new life, in this new existence. So the one person that I saw in that empty warehouse was waiting for the change, like to go back, everything to go back. And we can't go back. So the other person was changing, shifting, moving, and they were succeeding. So there was a message here to act now, to start to make changes. Don't wait for everything to return. Have a plan B, C, D, F, as I've said for other signs this month. And don't be afraid to take a different kind of job, go back to school, reach out to friends and be proactive about like, when can I expect to come back? If it's too late, maybe I'm gonna look at something else. Can I go into one of these industries that needs help right now and make a difference and, you know, get the money coming in again? So you're gonna be asked to go outside of your comfort zone, but the main thing is to be proactive, to be active, to be aware and not to wait. Don't just Netflix. Do more things right now. It's important. The rest is good too. But for your sign, I actually got a little bit of an impetus to push forward as well. And as I said, the timeline has shifted, but it's a new vision. It's a new you. And that's the exciting thing. Even when, if we take another movie, and this is an older one, so young people, maybe you will Netflix this or rent it or something. But like Back to the Future. Even when that main character went back to the future had actually shifted as well, because you can't ever go back to, and the future was the present. I know it's kind of confusing, but he had a chance to go back in time. He made some changes, and when he came back to his present life, it was different. So this event has shifted everything. Let's work with it. Let's make the most of it. And as we look at the cards here in a moment, it's going to be exciting. Let's imagine we're time travelers now. We've come back to a present life. Now we're going to be catching up. This is like our sort of roadmap. What's changed? What can I do? And that's what we're going to look at. All right. I'm going to turn the camera down. We're going to take a look at all of this. I need to be quiet while I do this, so just be patient as I lay out all the cards, and then we're going to see what the opportunities are. And again, this can be used for sun, rising, and moon. All right, everyone, thank you so much for being patient as I got everything laid out there. The first card, it doesn't surprise me that we're seeing Gaia, Mother Earth, come through in the catalyst. It says feel loved and feel comforted. And I think right now, one of the things that we have to do is find a way to ground ourselves, to connect with people, different sort of virtual ways, just like we're doing today. We can still sort of keep that connection. But there's a lot of healing going on in the planet. In addition to the sickness, what this has taught us to do is to go within. And I don't know about you, I'm based in Los Angeles. I get questions sometimes, where are you at? So I'm based in LA, and the air quality here is amazing. Probably for the first time in, again, a few decades, you can sort of see out to the ocean, to the mountains. It's kind of ironic because you can't really go there right now. We're closed down like many cities are. But Mother Earth right now is doing some repair to herself. And it's a great period right now to kind of see the planet recover a little bit. I'm hoping that we carry through some of the changes in our travel and the way that we're also kind of consuming things, because one of the big messages today from Mother Earth is do better, do more. You can do a better job than you've been doing. And so this is a time for us to respect the planet, respect ourselves. She's also a signal to me of fertility, of maternal energy, and of growth. So one of the beautiful messages with this, just like we have seasons on the planet, even in a temperate region like I'm at, we have rain right today and you can't really see the sun. So we still have seasons in Los Angeles. There are seasons of our life. There are seasons of the planet. We will get through this one. And I read for another sign this month where 2 cards flicked out and we saw like, I think it was spring and autumn. So I get a lot of earth energy that keeps coming through, which is it's okay. We have to go through this particular phase. And just as you would with autumn or winter, there is a period of loss. There's a period of dormancy. There's a period of waiting, but then fertility follows. And this is a very fertile card where we can see nothing but beautiful green energy on this. And if I have to think back to the novel, I think it was Christmas Present, green energy all over that as well. So it's around the corner. And so just again, knowing that you can get back to that sort of energy of creation, and there is still right now in the dormancy, still growth going on. So I would say not everything is what it seems. And this period can also be a time for you to evolve, change, shift, grow, and create. So use that time wisely, I guess is really what that card is saying. Let's now go card by card and look at all of the energy of the month. Okay, so we have the 6 of Swords here. In this particular deck, Arrow is Swords. And aptly named, it says transition at the bottom. And this is really it's spot on, because this can be a card of passing for those of you that might be letting go of a job. Unfortunately, some of you might be losing people in your life. This is what this card entails, is basically movement, passage, and separation and distance. And many of you may even have a wanderlust to try to travel again. So there's that sort of yearning energy that comes through with this. But right now, transition is happening, whether you see it, whether you feel it or not. And with the 6 of Swords, it gives you a chance to let go. So one of the best things that can happen with the energy of transformation, which is what I prefer to look at like death or change as, is you can evolve. It's kind of like chrysalis or, again, shifting from one thing into another. So I feel like that's the opportunity this month. And so many of you have to decide, what's my new identity? What do I want to come out of this looking, feeling, and acting like? And as we look at what's tempering the 6 of Swords, or the transition card, we have the 6 of Cups. And this 6 of Cups says reunion. So again, for many of you, you're rediscovering who or what you were or wanted to be and maybe got off that path. For some of you, you know that there will be a tomorrow where you can go back to some semblance of a new normal. It may not be exactly like what it was. And it's also a community card. So I think it's important to find a way to feel connected. This is one way. And I'm grateful that you're all here and partaking in this. I think we just have to be inventive. And this is kind of like, these seem like oxymorons or kind of ironically placed here, because one is saying distance and one is saying together. So that's why that hashtag out there is together alone, or alone together, whatever. Doesn't really matter which way you put it. I think that find a way right now to manage being distant, but still connect with people using technology. And go back to that little kid, because that's really what the 6 of Cups is. It's getting back to your inner child. And I think we lose track of it a lot of times because we get wrapped up in the hustle and bustle of every day. And Mother Earth has given us a blessing of time right now. If you've been blessed with health right now and you're not affected by the virus, then take this time to nurture yourself, to plan, to really, maybe for the first time since you were a little kid, have permission to dream and to analyze. And again, you don't need to have a life review. You don't have to have a Christmas Carol moment where 3 ghosts come and visit you, or 4 ghosts, actually, if you count Marley. So you don't need that, okay? Let's look now at Deep Past, which is what's going through some of your lives right now because we're looking at May, so this is kind of a little bit of what you're finishing up. We have the Wheel of Fortune and then the King of Swords here. So this is deep past and recent past. Yeah, things were actually okay for a lot of us, but the Wheel of Fortune in this deck shows what I would see as kind of like something that you would create over time here, because they've knitted, sewed, or loomed out this shirt. I don't know the right verb for it, but basically, when you look at this, it took some time to create it. So what's going on right now is, we had everything moving and then it stopped. Like I said, a timeline disappeared. Now you're going to have to start to create and sow new seeds so that you can reap the benefits of that growth in the year to come. For me, the wheel indicates about a passage of 1 year. The Wheel of Fortune and the Sun card can show like one movement around the sun, or again, 4 seasons. Some of the Wheel of Fortunes, you'll see that. It depends. But this one we can see like also even a full month for some of this to kind of transition. We see night and day. We see a lot of balance in this. So know that it will take time to get back to normal. And this is the time when you start to create the future. Just like when you go to school, going to college, going to whatever, training yourself, you have to go through that period before you can actually reap the benefits. So use this now as your training grounds for something new. With the King of Swords, please, communication is really important right now. So if you are isolated, reach out, talk to somebody that you care about, and use voice or images, not just text. I think it's important to hear the resonance of somebody's voice and to see the face if you can. So Zoom, FaceTime, Skype, no one really Skypes anymore, but whatever, find ways to connect. There's a lot out there. And speak your truth, say what you need to say. This is an upright King of Swords. There's really no negative connotations with that. There's a lot of power in communication. Perhaps your message is one that's going to heal people as well. So if you want to create an inspirational video, blog, a podcast, or whatever, this is a time when people need that. I would say really more than ever here. So we have the Temperance card here in the crowning position. It's reversed. And it almost reminds me of I think it's called a caduceus or something, but the medical symbol. And so the reversal of this, we're seeing 2 different dragons on either side. So it feels like for some of us, there's a power struggle. How can I get control of things again? Temperance would be a much different card usually. You would see someone with like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, kind of grounded between 2 different worlds sometimes. But on this one, it's sort of like lost, trying to find your power, trying to find your energy. I think meditation's super important. I did a lot of videos last month. I'm taking a little pause because I need to get through these, but I might do a few more this month as well. You can check my website and also main channel page for a morning and evening meditation. I think that's really helpful. I also did one that helps you connect with guides, and I think that's one of my stronger ones. So take some time, do some personal development. Breathing and resting is going to be essential for you kind of being able to maintain whether you're like a first responder or out there in the sort of action of everything, or you're stuck at home. It's affecting us in different ways, and you need that peace of mind. By the way, if you are someone who is out with the public, putting your life at risk, this is a super important card here. The King of Swords is about speaking up and asking for what you need from your boss, making sure that people are observing proper boundaries and taking care of themselves. This is where being outspoken is actually potentially going to save your life. So I think it's super important. Looking at near future here, we have the Five of Swords here. And with this Five of Swords, there's a caption of frustration, and that makes a lot of sense. I think for some of us, it feels like I'm trying to find a way to talk or think my way through this, but I can't. It's just sort of like I'm stuck, right? So I get it. I understand the frustration. And I think that sometimes things don't make sense until you move through them. And being able to just talk, even if it isn't making sense, is going to be important. So one of the things that you can do for others is simply to quote an album title, Listen Without Prejudice. That was an old George Michael album title. But it's a really great phrase. So just listen, be present, and wait for them to ask for your advice, because I think a lot of times now people don't need our advice unless they're showing up. They just want to talk. And if there's someone in your life that does pick up the phone and just say, I could just listen. Do you have stuff you want to talk about? And that could be really, really important, especially if they're experiencing loss or they're afraid. And then you can say, do you want my advice? And you can kind of add it in afterwards. But I think the most important thing is not to interrupt, just to let people say what they need to say. With the 5 of Swords, with the 7 of Swords, there's an opportunity sometimes to cut your losses, walk away, realize you can't win an argument. So if there's someone in your life that's just spouting out and they're negative, they're frustrated, look at them and think, is this them or is this just the energy around them? Because I do think it's a time where we have to cut people a little bit of slack, and we don't have to get into that energy, but we can also realize that stress brings out, like I said, sometimes the best, sometimes the worst. So try to show them how to be, like just model the behavior that you hope that they can adopt. But if they're not capable of that, we don't know what their path is like. So walk away if you have to. As we look at the Ace of Swords in reverse, this is about new opportunities coming through for you. The Ace of Swords reverse, though, is showing how can I get that if I don't feel inspired? It's a vitality card. And this one says the breath of life at the bottom. So I think it's really important for you to focus on one thing because it is an ace. And Ace of Swords is about action, about clarity, about talking, like I said, but pick one thing that you feel like you can control amidst all of this change and put your energy into that. So maybe it's deciding to cook better for yourself, eat better for yourself. Maybe you are an activist and you want to try to change policy when this is all said and done. So we have better, response when it comes to pandemics or medical coverage or whatever. Pick a goal and stick into that lane as much as possible because that's going to ground you. You're going to feel like you're making some progress in your life. And that really is the most important thing. It gives you this sense that, I can do this. I'm not alone. The next card here that we're looking at is the Mirror. In this particular deck, it's different. The Mirror is actually the Hanged Man. It looks like the moon, but it's not. And she's holding a reflection here and also holding onto the moon, which in and of itself is a reflective card. Excuse me. So one thing that I want you to think about right now is looking through the illusions and also looking through the things that make you afraid. So what is it right now in your life that is triggering you? Is there something going on where you feel like, I've never given myself a chance to look at this, but now that I have this quiet time, I have to. And I think that's what's frustrating people. You don't have the distraction of people around you. You don't have the same sort of agenda or schedule. And suddenly hopes, fears, desires, anxieties, they're coming to the forefront. And I would say on this, take care of yourself, nurture yourself, but don't be afraid to look at those because through that may come an insight that you forgot. I've mentioned a lot of times, you're getting a second chance to look at things maybe that you forgot you had the ability to do this, or you forgot that you had the desire to do something. So yes, you're stuck, you're feeling stuck, but the positive side of the Hanged Man, which has been coming through a lot, is that you can make it through this. There's a kind of blessing involved with this as well. All right, we have the Lovers in reverse, not a surprise here as we're looking at hopes, fears, opportunities. Many relationships that you counted on might be missing because let's say, if you're a person of faith and you're looking to go and practice this weekend because there's a lot of religious ceremonies that are going on. They have been going on between Thursday and Monday. So you have to find a different way and you can't find that same connection. For those of you that are stuck with people that you thought you liked, but now you realize that there were some relationship cracks that need to be dealt with, that's what's coming through here. The interesting thing on this one is you notice that their hands are tied together. And I think one thing that you want to do is, of course, remember the promise that you made with or to that person, but also to give them freedom to sort of have their space. And it's hard when you're in the same room or the same house, but I think finding a way to let someone just kind of decompress is going to be important, and to try to find the love, try to go back to that. I had a Reiki teacher once that reminded me, at our core, we all are in a sort of energy or resonance of love. Sometimes it comes out in a weird way. So sometimes we hurt those around us through kind of like picking an argument, and that's what the 5 of Swords can be. That's a lighter energy if you're going to look at agitation versus maybe 7 of Swords, which is out and out lying and not telling the truth or doing something to hurt someone. So I feel like communication's off a little bit. Try not to sort of pick and pan there, like find a way to just walk away, do something else. I think that's going to be important. Maybe reconnect with an old friend. And this is where you both can practice listening. The art of listening is going to be so important. It's especially important for your partner too. Just let one another know you're there for each other and try not to make it obligatory, because when I look at I know that that's symbolic when you sort of tie the rope around their hands, but to me that also feels like I'm trapped. So we always have a choice in a relationship. Choose the love, choose the light, try to not force someone into something or guilt them into something. Demonstrate, model the behavior you want. And at some points, you might be in a point where this is showing you if you truly have what it takes to make it last, because the center card is distance. And this can be a card where at the end of all of this, you might decide to reevaluate where you're working, who you're married to, who you're living with, because that union is less of a union and it's more of a tug of war, which is what I'm seeing here in the top card. And then finally, we have the Nine of Pentacles here. The card is reversed. The interesting thing about Nine of Pentacles is typically this would be a card where we would see like financial independence, but it can also just be about self-sufficiency and independence as well. And some of you feel like that might have been taken away. And so do what you can, however you can, to find a way to sort of find a purpose and find a feeling like I can take control, I can take care of myself. It's hard, right? When maybe some of you that still have a day job are wondering, will it last? Will it be okay? Because we see economies shrinking, changing, and very volatile right now. You might be worrying about your general health because that's, again, a card of taking care of yourself. Ultimately, the Nine of Pentacles tells me if I'm reading for someone, you have what it takes. So with it being flipped, I just need you to get back into that feeling that I can handle that. How's this person doing it? Through meditation. So you've got this. But you may have forgotten that you can do it, or you may be doubting yourself. Just stay strong. And again, I feel like finding a singular purpose to put your energy into is going to be super important when it comes to being able to manage this. Love is possible in this. You know, for a lot of different signs, I haven't been talking much about it because it doesn't come up. I do have the Lovers in the possibility space for you. Given that we have the distant card at the center, the Six of Arrows or the Six of Swords, this would have to be an unusual sort of pairing. It would mean maybe that you would meet virtually using one of the various dating apps or sites. It could also be that, you know, you had started a relationship and now it's going to be long distance because of what's going on. So do your best to stay connected and to honor that space and find ways to kind of stay in each other's energy without getting on each other's nerve, or again, using the distance as an excuse to sort of fight. But by and large, for most signs right now, it's an introspective month. It's a time to develop, to heal, to take care of yourself, just like the planet is. We do have a card of fertility, so this cuts a few different ways. One is that you could do some really great things this month, finishing up a project, improving the home, you know, taking care of yourself. Like I said, I've been seeing it in almost every spread, some card that shows fertility. If you want to start a family, it's a great time to do it. If you don't, be careful because this message keeps coming through. So enough said with that. Let's look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Each one of these will give me a new lens with which I can look at what's going on. And question marks. I don't know what's a question mark about that. So be careful if you don't want to get pregnant. That's what this is basically saying. Hopefully that clarifies. If not, like I said, use the energy for creation. All right, looking now at health. Health is mind, body, and spirit. So with this, it's not simply about what's going on in your body. It's about also how you're feeling, where you're focusing your energy, etc. And what we have here is Dharma Unfolding. It says, remember that you are on a path, take one step at a time to happiness. As I said before, there's no, we actually even see this sometimes in people just saying, when will it go back to normal? If you're a little kid, if you have kids, or if you remember back to when you were a kid and you were on a long road trip, you probably drove your parents crazy saying, are we there yet? When are we there? When's this going to end? And I feel a lot of us are kind of doing that. This is a card of patience. And it's hard, right? Because this was reversed. We also have the Hanged Man. And basically, both of these cards are saying you have to be patient. You have to wait for things to unfold. Getting back to what is your general purpose, it's going to be super important. And I think as long as you can find your purpose, that's what matters. Remember, your purpose is not necessarily the same as your job. It's not necessarily being a mother, a partner, a nurse, a doctor, a teacher. You're more than that. So find what your soul path is. We'll look at that as we look at the cards here. And let's now move along to wealth here. By the way, thanks to my moderators for clearing all that up there. All right, with wealth. Wealth is not just money, it's also self-worth, and it's also looking at how you can be fruitful, how you can actually make a change or make a difference right now. So we have here into the unknown. Yeah, this is basically, I would say, symbolic of the Fool as well. The card is reversed, which means that you have to embrace the sort of energy of change, of ambiguity, of shifting. Take the blindfolds off. This is very Two of Swords as well. You have to pick a path, go with it, hope for the best. And so when it comes to wealth, we don't know everything that's happening right now, where it's going to lead. Because, I mean, one of the interesting things about money, I remember taking some classes both in like high school and then in college. The financial markets are actually an illusion. Like, it's based on emotion, not actual value. And I don't have a dollar bill with me right now, but you know, any sort of currency, it's paper with ink on it. And for some reason, we believe that it has value. And because we believe it has value, it has value. It's actually very psychic, the way money works. So we work, and for the work, we get rewarded in these little bills that have printed stuff on it. And then we believe they have power. And because we believe they have power, they have power. So if we can believe that, you know, printed money means something, we can also create something in our life. And we have the power to get other people to believe it the same way. If I handed you a few dollars, you would believe I could get something back for that. So start to believe in your ability to do things and believe that people can see you as valuable for that. Your self-worth will create an opportunity. This is how entrepreneurs create companies every day, products, and get us to buy it. Then they talk about it and we think, wow, that's something. I need it. We buy it. So you have the power to create. You have the power to evolve. You have the power to go into the unknown and do something and make it. But only you can figure it out. I was asking my guides a question, and I was asking the cards a question, personal question the other day. And they basically said, you decide. So just know, even as an intuitive, sometimes I have to decide stuff. And so I'll make a choice. And I'm telling you, with this, you have to decide what you want to do. Tune into yourself, figure it out, and you will figure it out. But my guides were showing me you have the power. You don't need us, and we're not going to tell you because that will cheat you. Excuse me. And as I lose my voice again on that, there's a reminder there. Like, you have the power. Don't give it away to somebody else. All right. As we now look at, we looked at health and wealth, we're going to be looking at love here. This actually looks like the tower. It says the temple. And so there's two ways of looking at this. Love can be a temple. It can be a prison. It could also be something that's kind of falling apart this month. I think some work has to be done. Imagine this being a home improvement month, but in the house of love, right? So look at your house of love. This could be self-love. Do I love myself? Am I happy with the life that I've built? Am I happy with who I am? If not, take care of yourself this month. You have time. Looking at the sort of relationships in your life, do they have the foundation to stand the test of time? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. And if they don't, then it's time to kind of look at how deep do those cracks go? Are they just something surface that we can deal with, or do they go all the way to the core? With the reverse of it, it just shows you that change can happen. I see this as Tower reversed. Tower reversed can portend good things. In the sort of energy of a company, for instance, it would be restructuring or a merger that could make it stronger. In a relationship, it would be a feeling like, you know, honey, we have to change. We have to, or we're going to get through this, but we have to make some adjustments to do it. What we're doing isn't working anymore. So I think that all relationships will benefit this month from evaluating what's important, trying to be flexible, and realizing that it takes two, as we see here with the Lover's card. So if one person is doing everything, they can't hold up the weight of that opportunity or that relationship. So change. And for some of you, it's going to get stronger. For some of you, you're going to let go because we have the Six of Swords at the center, transformation. So don't be afraid if that's what's necessary to really embrace it. Now we're going to look at destiny. And before I look at the destiny card again, the reminder here is that we are on a new timeline. So this is really going to help us on that new timeline. This is about illusion, hydromancy. Never heard of that word actually, but I'm assuming it has to do with the magic of water because we're looking at the reflection here. The card was reversed. It says illusion. And as we look at the illusion here, a reminder that, we looked at the moon card, or not the moon card, but we were looking at the hangman, which has the moon and has that sort of reflective energy in it. And so this month you have the ability to see through or see something new. Think of it more as like a scrying window, which is basically like obsidian glass or a kind of smoky glass, where it's not necessarily you that you're looking at, but the you that you want to be, or the future, or opportunities. So your ability to project is powerful. Like I said, with money, we can project value onto paper. In a job or a product, you can project value into that and people will buy it. With your own self, though, there's a chance this month to see the true you. And when we look at the mirror, it's not really us. It's not the us that other people see. It's actually flipped anyway. So we're seeing an illusion of how we appear to others. But beyond that, I'm sure you've seen people in your life where they're beautiful, but they're never happy with themselves. They're always feeling like they have to work out more, change something. And when they start to project the insecurities, you start to wonder, like, is there something wrong? What is wrong with them? Why can't they see what I see? And so I want you this month to start to project questions of possibilities. I had a client the other day who was having a hard time, I think, with self-confidence. And I said, what if you go to the halfway point and just say, like, what if this would work, instead of thinking, when will it fail? Because it's more powerful to think, what if I succeed? What if I'm more beautiful than I feel like I am? What if my money situation could turn around after this global pandemic is done? What if there's a bigger pattern to everything that's going on? What if? So I want you to, in your meditation this month, what if, I know, Apollo sighting, what if something positive goes on? So create the possibilities this month and walk your way towards the more powerful I am creating this. This is happening, making like an active sort of verb out of it. And just entertain the possibility. Go into the daydreamer mode and think, what if? Let's go ahead and review what we talked about, and then we're going to go into the soul path, and we will see maybe what if, what's next. Let me turn the camera down and we'll review everything first. Okay, so first message that I got today as I was meditating was, this is time for a new identity, that you're kind of losing that old sense of who you were. And the truth is, you aren't lost. I forgot to mention that in my dream, I couldn't find my way back. I was being denied entry into places because I wasn't who I thought I was, or I wasn't what I used to be. Realize you're not lost. You're actually perhaps for the first time finding out who you are. So by stripping you of this illusionary, like this card that you used to wear that would said, I am this or something, now you can decide who you are. Create your own card. Actually, like, get a piece of paper and decide what you want to be. It would be a powerful sort of exercise in meditation and projection this month. Don't wait. Don't wait for something to happen in your life. During this time period, of course, rest is important. I hope you all are doing that. And it's fun to watch movies and to read books. That's also important. But also take this time to be inspired and make a change, make something happen. Because who you were is gone, but now you have an opportunity to create something new. The timeline has shifted. If you didn't like where you were, that's a good thing. If you liked where you were, you have to let go and you have to try to evolve and shift with a new one. It could be even better. What if it's better? Practicing what I was just saying here. Mother Earth is trying to heal herself. That's part of what's going on. That doesn't explain everything, but it is a side effect that's actually a silver lining. And wherever I can find a silver lining right now, I will certainly embrace it. So yay for that. It's also a great month for creativity and fertility. So utilize that energy if you want to. The divine feminine is coming through loud and clear. I've been seeing that in a lot of different readings and cards this month. It's time to move on for many of you. And for some of you, the distance or the separation or the anxiety around all of the above is difficult to deal with. So speak out if you need to. Talk to someone that's right next to it. We see the King of Swords there. Get back to who you used to be or who you want to be. The Six of Cups really, I believe, is the inner child. For some of you, you might actually have a chance to connect and call in a soulmate too. Maybe not right here and right now, but as everything unfolds over the course of the next year, that person or that opportunity may come in, or that relationship opportunity may come in. But the Six of Cups to me is to find how you could entertain yourself as a kid and not worry about sort of like going to the store, or going to work, or having the money. We didn't worry about all those concerns as a kid. So try to find the little joys and the little things that you can celebrate. You're on a 1-year trajectory. The timeline's been reset. That means that if you were planting a field of crops to grow, you have to sow it all over again. So for some of you, that can feel frustrating, but for others, it might be a chance to sort of be inspired. Use your voice, it matters. For many of you, there's a message that you can share that's going to be important. For the rest of you, especially first responders or anyone out there in the public, speak up if you need help, if you need proper distance, whatever it is. Your voice is really, really important this month. Balance as well. If you're feeling out of balance this month, find a way to try to get grounded again. We see that grounded card here with the 9 of Pentacles. Communication's breaking down, though, for some of you. And that communication could also be making you feel, even if you're right next to the person, like they're in another world. So do what you can to decide, basically, if and when you need to bring up something, and pick and choose your battles, basically. And I think equally as important is just let people talk. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to teach them. The 5 of Swords in reverse is not so much about communicating, but sometimes just listening and letting be, letting go. Pick one thing that you can change, that you can affect, and really focus on that. That will help you with this feeling of anxiety while you're stuck, while we have the Hanged Man energy here. And this card really is kind of an amalgam of Hanged Man and Moon, which is during this period, this is when you can look within, when you can invoke something new. With love, try to go back to that energy of like what it was that originally attracted you to someone, especially if you're feeling right now like they're on your nerves. They have redeeming qualities. Give them space if they need it. If there is a time and distance component in your relationship, you're separated by geography because of what's going on, do your best to bridge that gap. For the rest of you, if you're waiting for love, there might be a little bit of a waiting period here with the 6 of Swords, but it's coming. So focus on yourself. That's really what the here and the now is about. And you have what it takes. That's really what this 9 of Pentacles is saying. You are self-sufficient. Even if the money's not there, you have the ability to be sort of like crafty, thrifty, inventive, and you can make it work. Slow and steady. That's what we see with the health card. That also has to do with finding a way to slow down the pace. I feel like some of us might have been on a fast track and drinking too much caffeine, working too many hours. You get a chance now to slow it down. So yeah, I want many of you to take an active role in the changes that are going on. But if you were on that fast track, slow it down. And if you're in a job right now where you are being asked to work too many shifts, you've got to slow it down for your health. Say no to some of them. It's important for recovery and for your own health and happiness. There weren't additional messages that came through right now with respect to health, except that, but I'm going to look really quickly here and see. I really think that meditation and grounding is important for you. And making sure that you feel a sense of balance. This card literally says it at the bottom. So if you're feeling either mentally not what you used to be because emotionally there's too much going on, or you're feeling a little dizzy, you need to take care of those balance issues. So whether it's symbolic or actual, that's the one health note that comes through. For money, you're into the unknown. For career, for personal self-worth, let go of that identification card. Create or craft something new that is going to allow you to be more than you were. Relationships require work. This month, some of them are going to stand the tests of time. Some of them are going to maybe fall apart. But know that that's a blessing, however which way it comes through, because it's helping you decide where to put your energy. And ultimately, we talked about the power of projection and belief. Use it to your benefit this month. Try to see what's possible. See the beauty that others see within you. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the past, present, and future influences that are going to help you perhaps with that new vision, that new possibility. All right, so what is perhaps showing itself again that we all need to work on? Okay, so we have the Great Bear here, which is judgment. And notice how this particular judgment card is showing sort of a symbol of stepping through the veil or stepping through to the other side. It's a very transformative energy. But what is a bear? It's kind of scary, right? And it can also show the kind of economical thing that we're going through right now. We're entering into a bear market. Sometimes bears are scarier than they seem, and they're just grumpy. And I feel like a lot of us are going through that as well. So what is judgment? Judgment has a few pieces to it. If there are people in your life and they are that bear right now, let them be. Don't try to provoke that energy. Don't pick a fight. You don't have to agree on politics or religion or even what's going on how to protect yourself. Let that person hold their beliefs, because that energy is probably not going to help you. Some of you are afraid of going through the door. You're afraid of what is on the other side, because this is transformation. There is life, death, rebirth that is a part of this particular card. It's not as scary as the death card, because death happens suddenly. With judgment, we actually see that we already know what we have to do. The decision, we've made it, but we haven't accepted it. So the energy of the great bear or the judgment card is, what are you having a hard time accepting? And then I would ask you then, why do you think you're triggered by that? For me, I think it's fear of the unknown. And we saw a couple of those cards coming through. Literally for many of you, it's, how am I going to make it? What is my livelihood? What do I call myself now if I'm not this, which I've been for many years or whatever? So I think you have to make friends with the unknown, ignore the bear, and walk through that portal and embrace whatever that opportunity is. Because what follows judgment? The world, change, growth, expansion. So that's just an animal totem. That's just kind of like an illusion above that. Go through the portal, it's okay. For those of us that have lost someone in our life, this is the mourning period, because that is what judgment is. If you ever look at the true illustration in Rider-Waite-Smith, you will see people coming out of a grave. And it is dealing with mortality. I was listening to National Public Radio this morning. Actually, I think it was, there's this podcast. It's called The Big Idea, Washington Post. No, it was both, actually, yes. So they were both giving stories about people in a sort of right on the front lines, like a chaplain that was helping people deal with passing and also death or the potential of that. And they can't actually get through the wall right now. But it was a beautiful segment, because he was kind of talking about how important it is right now to be strong, to be there, to also embrace whatever is coming through the unknown. And one of the things that he can do to help people is just to help them know that you don't need to be afraid. We don't need to be afraid of the unknown, whether it's walking through that portal to the other side or walking through the portal and getting a new job and reinventing ourselves. Transformation, change, reinvention, it's all part of life. And so right now, I can't avoid it in any of my readings. I'm going to see it. And I also feel the heaviness of it because I'm an empath, and I try my best in each reading not to cry because the energy is coming through. So I feel the sadness, I feel the frustration. And all I can tell you is we're all in this together, and we're all going to change. And let's hope that we're changing for the better. And through this portal exists the world, exists change, exists expansion. So let's focus on the expansion, not the fear of the transformation itself. So we have here the Queen of Wands here. So this is good. And also we see an amazing symbol of fertility with this as well. So you have the ability to reinvent yourself. Queen of Wands is the boss card, the penultimate one. The only one above her is the king. So in this particular, but in many ways, the queen energy is more fertile and more powerful. So we have the same energy here of creation. Reinvent yourself. Have fun with it. Think of musicians, for instance, aren't the ones that come out with an entirely different sound and look and feel, 4 or 5 times in a row. They're amazing. They stand the test of time because they can't reinvent the wheel. And so think of your favorite writers, producers, actors, and then everyday heroes that are able to just kind of step out there, and you're like, how do they keep coming back? They're always coming back with a different way of looking at it. You're being invited, challenged, and pushed to be like this Queen of Wands, and then realize that that's going to create a period of growth and expansion for you, because that's following. This is what the World card is really about here, is that growth and development. So very fertile, very positive energy here. Let's see where you're headed. So we have the Ancestor in this deck. This is the Emperor card. But what I like about this is there is the energy here to march to the beat of your own drum, right? So I want you to find your own choice, your own path, and try not to feel like you have to tell others how to deal with it or what to do. So for those of us that might be parents, teachers, mentors, this is saying go within, help yourself, and again, lead by example. I think there's a lot of leading by example that came through for your sign this month. So you can do this, you can inspire others, and I think you could be an example to others just by moving through the energy of change. Let's go into the meditation now. I'm going to take a drink of water. I encourage all of you to stick around for this. This is going to help us move through it, move through some of the fear and anxiety and some of the sadness, and into this, this sort of growth period that's coming through. By the way, yes, this is Tinkerbell. This is from an old place that I used to work. She's reminding us that magic is possible too. All right. I want you to take a nice deep breath and just go into your body first and feel if there's any stress that you're holding on to. So if you're feeling a sense of like you're holding up the weight of the world on your shoulders, give yourself a little massage first and just say thank you to yourself. Thanks for pushing through this, for being here, and take a nice deep breath as you do that. Exhale, relax your posture, let everything go. And I really want to take us out into nature. We did a nature meditation the other day that was beautiful. And I think I want to do another meditation. This time I want to use water. That's what came to me when I was meditating this morning. And I think I want to do the energy of a lake for this too, because there's enough changing and enough movement. Let's look at something that's still, and it's going to give us the ability to see within, just like we saw with this last card here. So imagine yourself on a warm day by a beautiful lake. And see that in the distance, there are majestic mountains. And the mountains are giving you this sense of something that's been there forever, that stands the test of time, that even through all the weathering and all the storms, they still are there. They're basically showing us the perseverance of nature sometimes. And as your attention then comes across the lake, you see the reflection of the clouds moving gently away, revealing a beautiful, clear, crystal blue sky above. You can see grass, fish, other wildlife walking around or even swimming within the water. And then you see a ray of light coming from the sun, tracing itself to you. And see your body on the shore of this lake, sort of cross-legged, right at the edge of the water. Maybe 1 foot is even in the water, so you can feel the energy of and the sort of blessing that comes from the water, but everything is still around you. Take a moment to lie back on the ground, feeling the sand beneath you, and feel the warmth and radiance as the sun shines on you, and also feel the warmth of the sand beneath you, which has been receiving the solar energy all day. And I just want you to, in this moment, feel that you are supported. And if there's anything stressful in your life, a feeling of worry over finances, health, or the future, or even your children and your children's future, let Mother Earth support you now and say, I hear you. Remember what we talked about, the power of active listening. So in this moment, I just want you to feel heard. Silently for a moment, tell her what's on your mind, what you want to let go of, and just give that to the planet as an offering. And then give her something back that she can do something with, which is a breath. Breath is very powerful as a sort of gift to the planet, because it's going to feed the grass, feed the trees. It's going to move the air around you and basically make everything shift. So give her an offering of your breath and say, I bless you with this breath, and I let go of whatever I need to let go of. Breathe as many times as you need to. 1 breath for each prayer, 1 breath for each worry. Feel a sense of love as she accepts these offerings, and feel a connection from your heart to hers, the center of the earth. And then feel this sort of electromagnetic shield wrap around your body. It's a hug, basically. She's hugging you and she's holding you. The ground beneath you is holding you, and then she's pulling this protective blanket around your body. Feel in this moment that you're kind of in the hands of, or the arms of, the eternal mother that we all need and want. Some of us, we've lost our parents. because we're older. Some of us, maybe we were never close to them. Some of us, we just yearn for loving and acceptance because we just don't get it. In this moment, know that without any shadow of a doubt, you are loved, you are supported, and it's okay to feel however you feel. And just feel that she is gently rocking you with her sort of energy and support. And take one of your feet and dip it into the water now. And I want you to feel you have the element of the earth beneath you, the fire from the sun above you, the wind gently moving around you, and your own breath. And I want you now to connect with the water. And just feel the energy as you tap into this great lake in front of you. Maybe sit up now that you feel stronger, now that you feel a little bit more supported. I want you to look into the water and see what everyone else sees, that you are strong, that you are powerful. See what your soul sees if other people around you can't see that. See what I see. Your strength, your beauty, your power. And I want you now to start to imagine new things in the reflection. Where do you want your relationship or relationships to go? What do you want your future path to be like? Imagine financial stability and security. See growth and abundance. Project the new reality that you want. Take a nice deep breath. Inhale. Put that wish, put that vision out into the universe. And now just be patient knowing that your vision was received. Just like Mother Earth heard your prayer, so does the universe now. Take a moment to use that powerful meditation technique of imagining the possibilities. What if I make it through this stronger than I was before? What if I'm able to find an even better job than I have now? And what if for the first time I truly see myself without all the trappings of this earthly body? I don't need the identification card, symbolic though it may be, of what people want to see me as. I'm something more than that. I'm greater than. Touch the water with your hand and look at the ripples as they change who you are on the surface, and realize in your own life you have the ability to make that change happen. Just like those ripples, it takes time for it to move across the water. And who you were is going to change from who you have been. Or I should say who you're going to be is going to change from who you have been. So just allow for the shifting to happen in your energy. And I'm going to play the singing bowl here for a moment. I want you to focus on the reflection of the sun and allow it to refuel your mind, body, and spirit. Own the power of creation within you and know that coming through this world event right now, you're going to be able to create a new you, a new timeline. Imagine now that you're looking in this reflection and you have the ability to walk into the projected reality. I want you to step into the water and realize that the water's not moving and that what you're seeing is actually a future state. And go towards that new you. Walk through the portal. See yourself in that future. And then open your eyes on the next exhale. Welcome back, everybody, and thank you so much for being a part of today's meditation, today's reading. I want to take a few moments to let you know how you can all stay connected and get involved if you'd like. First of all, I saw a lot of stickers and super chats going up while I was talking. Thank you for everybody who did that. You can still do it while I'm talking here, but just know that that really does make a difference, especially now. It helps me buy supplies, and every little bit helps, so thank you. If you'd like to join me on social media, if you're on Facebook or Patreon, it's the same username as it is on YouTube, which is Nicholas Ashbaugh. I'd love for you to join me on all of these. Facebook will allow you to see stories where I'll remind you of what's coming through, and I put a link every morning that I do a reading so you can find me. Patreon is a different way to give back. You can join for a $1 contribution monthly, and again, it can give back. YouTube has an option here too with the join button, and again, it makes a big difference, so thank you if you've done that. If you would also like to join me on Twitter, my username is nashbaugh, and same thing goes where I will remind you the day of the reading and the day before so that you don't forget. Instagram, same thing, plus I post cute pictures of Apollo. I'm overdue to do that, so I'll try to do that today if I can. My official website is nicholasashbaugh.com. This is a great place to go for all news and information. It's also a place where you can figure out how to book an appointment with me if you want to do that, or if you're looking for one of my meditations, I post a copy of those there as well. And also, if you're kind of old school and you want to give a one-time contribution through PayPal, it's Nicholas Ashbaugh there as well. All of the links are on my official website, so that's probably the easiest way to do it. And I will also put links here in the video as soon as the video has processed. Yesterday, it took a while for the last one, but I'll do it within a day. All the links will be there. Thank you so much for everybody across the world that has joined in today's reading. Your presence is really important for the meditation. It made a big difference. For all of you that are at a point where you can't do much, but you want to help, just hit like and subscribe. I see a lot more people here than likes, so hit a like if you can. It makes a difference. It helps YouTube know that people are enjoying the content here. In the meantime, thanks again to my moderators. You guys helped me out today. I saw there were a couple moments where you had to step up, so thanks for doing that. And thanks everyone for just showing up and working on yourselves. I'm here to try to help create some hope and insight and light on the planet, and I really want to pass on the torch for all of you that are wanting to be light workers as well. So you matter, and I appreciate you. And again, thanks for all those final contributions that are coming in, and all of you that hit liked. I saw it go up really fast. So much love from me to you. I'll be back on Sunday and Monday. You can check out the schedule on my website. There's a little button that says live on the top, and you can see when I'm coming on live. So, but please hit subscribe and opt into notifications, and you'll know when as well. All right. Till I see you next, take care. Lots of love, lots of light, and take care of yourselves. Okay. Thank you so much. See you soon.